Peace, and welcome to another episode of the Quranic Remedies, where we spend about 20 minutes exploring a page from the Quran together and seeing how we can apply the verses to our lives. And hopefully, with God's permission, it helps us heal our brain, body, mind, and soul. So today we'll be reading from chapter 2, The Cow, from verses 211 to 215. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. I seek refuge to God from the accursed devil. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. In the name of God, the Merciful, the Gracious. سل بني إسرائيل كم آتيناهم من آية بينة ومن يبدل نعمة الله من بعد ما جاءته فإن الله شديد العقاب. Ask the children of Israel how many a sign as proofs have we given them. But whoever changes the blessing of God after what has come to him, then indeed God is severe in penalty. زين للذين كفروا الحياة الدنيا ويسخرون من الذين آمنوا والذين اتقوا فوقهم يوم القيامة والله يرزق من يشاء بغير حساب. Adorned for those who disbelieve is the worldly life, and they ridicule those who believe. But those who are pious will be above them on the day of resurrection, and God provides for whomever He wills without reckoning. كان الناس أمة واحدة فبعث الله النبيين مبشرين ومنذرين وأنزل معهم الكتاب بالحق ليحكم بين الناس فيما اختلفوا فيه وما اختلف فيه إلا الذين أوتوه من بعد ما جاءتهم البينات بغيا بينهم فهدى الله الذين آمنوا لما اختلفوا فيه من الحق بإذنه والله يهدي من يشاء إلى صراط مستقيم. Mankind was a single nation. Then God raised the prophets as missionaries and warners and revealed the book with them in truth so that they may judge between the people concerning what they differed. But none disputed about it except those who were given it after what had come to them of proofs out of injustice among them. And God guided those who believed to what they had differed of the truth by His permission. For God guides whomever He wills to a straight path. أم حسبتم أن تدخلوا الجنة ولم يأتيكم مثل الذين خلوا من قبلكم مستهم البأساء والضراء وزلزلوا حتى يقول الرسول والذين آمنوا معه متى نصر الله ألا إن نصر الله قريب. Or do you think that you will enter the garden while the instance of those who passed before you has not yet come to you? They were touched by misery, adversity, and were shaken until the messenger and those who believed with him said, When is the help of God? Verily, indeed, the help of God is near. يسألونك ماذا ينفقون قل ما أنفقتم من خير فللوالدين والأقربين واليتامى والمساكين وابن السبيل وما تفعلوا من خير فإن الله به عليم. They ask you what they should disperse. Say, whatever you disperse of good, then it is for the parents and relatives, the orphans, the poor people, and the wayfarer. And whatever you do of good, then indeed God is aware of it. Sadaqallahu al-Azim. God the Amazing said the truth. Now, the verses here, where we left off last time is God is telling us that we should wholeheartedly embrace the religion of God, Islam, to submit wholeheartedly and not to follow the devil. And God now starts by giving us an example for us to ask the children of Israel on how many clear proofs and clear signs have come to them. And there are obviously plenty for them, because they have in their books recorded as in what Moses had to go through and the signs that came down to Moses. And they could clearly see the truth that was in the Torah and the Gospel and the other books that came from God through the prophets. But unfortunately, whenever the proofs do come to them, many of them will start to change either the interpretation of what was revealed, so that they would make it into an everyday normal event like it's supposed to happen anyways, or they attach other things and change the blessing itself. This unfortunately occurred with the people of this book, the Quran. God clearly sent us a clear sign and a proof on how we should be human beings and how we should benefit ourselves by what God has revealed. But then people went and changed the blessing and said, no, the revelation includes many other things. And the revelation includes other books that you need to go explore and learn as well. So they're changing what God has revealed. And God says that whoever does that, then God's penalty is severe. So why is there a penalty? Well, because it's not that it's, it's not out of spite. It's because it's like someone saying like, this is the best gas for your car, right? And someone puts the gas that was recommended and then he drives the car and the car is working very well. But then it comes to him and goes, well, if I add more nitrogen to this gas, the car will probably perform better, right? So he adds nitrogen, he gets a placebo effect thinking the car is working a little bit better. But in the long run, right, it's actually destroying his engine. So his car is not lasting as long. And his car is having more issues where he has to now find all these other things that he needs to do to keep the car maintained. But if he used the gas that was originally recommended for him, he wouldn't have had to deal with all these things just because he's thinking his car is better by using more, let's example, nitrous oxide in his car. So in the long run, he's destroying his car, but he doesn't know that. He doesn't see it that way. And it's the same thing with God's book. God gave you the correct recipe, the good gas for your body, for your mind, for you to perform in a certain way, which will outlast, and it would give you a worldview that is very successful. But people think that, oh, well, because I added this stuff, it's giving me this short-term effect that it's very good for me. But in reality, it's not, because you will destroy your society, you will destroy your mind, and that's why it's God's penalty. This is why it's a form of God's punishment, because God already predetermined that if you're going to incorporate these other extra steps, if you're going to put nitrous oxide, you might get that small boost a little bit, but you're destroying yourself. This was already predetermined. You're destroying your car. So this is why it's God's penalty, because this was already pre-created or predetermined while God was creating the world that's in front of us. Now, we have an image here of the people that make fun of the people that like are adhering to God's rule and love God and have a relationship with God, compared to the people that want this worldly life. You could see people who find material success, if that's even success, whoever's got a form of, well, it's not a blessing, but more so a test from God, where they do have materials and extra materials like money and cars and women, if that's what the person's into, where they look down to anybody who is meek in the way that he approaches himself to God. Because to them, like, this guy is unintelligent. He's going through with what, like, the stories of the forefathers. He's not so concerned about the world, and he's not working the way that he's supposed to be, so he's going to stay poor and stupid. So they literally make fun of you. Like, if someone is, this is all over the world, I've noticed this, if you go thinking about God in a situation and you realize how God helped you and you prostrate, people look at you funny. Like, look at this loser, why is he on the floor? Like, get up, man, the floor is dirty. It's not about the floor, it's about the dirt. I'm prostrating to God. Yeah, you look weird, man. Just get up. There's not the place for it. Okay. But then on the day of judgment, me, who was aware that God was there in the picture and I wanted to thank God, so I threw myself on the ground and prostrated to him, I'm going to get, like, my God is going to be showing how he was pleased in me in that situation, if God is pleased in me. And the person that made fun of me is going to feel stupid that he didn't prostrate next to me. See, so this is why I'm going to be a degree above them on the day of judgment, if that's how it plays out. And this is true for many people who are believers in this world. They're always under scrutiny by the disbelievers. See, somebody who is very keen on God's religion, it's not so much worried for the person in front of you. They know that the person in front of you who's a disbeliever, they're going through a punishment now mentally. They're not at peace. You know they're not at peace, as much as however like arrogant and big they want to paint themselves and a strong person. You know their mind is going at a million miles with all these weird thoughts. So they're not at peace now, and on the day of judgment they're gonna find torment and pain if that's their destiny. So you don't really, or you're not concerned about what they say and what they do. But yet they're always making fun of you, and they're trying to put you down as if you're someone who looks weak to them or have issues, because you're not adhering to the way they see the world view, where you have to be this tough, weird, arrogant person. And God does give, like, provides to whom he wills, however he wills. So you could see clearly people who are evil, they have what it seems like a lot of blessings in the world, but God is increasing them. It's just so that they would, because of who they are as a person, they can see on the day of judgment and witness to themselves that even if God gave them so many riches, they were not a good human being. And if they were poor, they would still not be a good human being. So it's not the money that ruined them. It was their own character, their own psychology, and their love for something that is not lasting. It's crazy. Like, why would I spend 100 years, my whole life, enslaving myself to buy this amazing car that I want, knowing very well that this car is going to be taken away from me and it's going to break or I'm going to die, and then me being very broken down that it's gone. Like it's something is psychologically, you're torturing yourself, but God's penalty is severe, right? Now, this is one thing, the next verse, in regards to how God is defining to us one of the roles of the prophet. Humanity used to be one. Humans, because we started as a small cluster of people, we were united. We were one community. We were one nation, right? But people started to have differences in how the worldview should be. Some people had God in mind, and some people had my preservation, my self-preservation, and the worldly life in mind. Okay, so they started to argue about things. For example, one person can be like, you shouldn't talk about what's going on in the world because you could get hurt. And you getting hurt is going to cost you pain, and it's going to cost you torture, and you might go to jail and people can kill you. Okay? So you should never talk about it. So it's about self-preservation. And then the other person can go, well, but these people are being oppressive, and the truth needs to be told. If no one's saying the truth, then they're getting away with what they're doing, right? So this is a difference in how you should approach the problem. So someone can really think that they're right, that no, you should never talk about it because they can torture you and kill you. And then the person goes, no, well, I'm showing more loyalty to God if I do talk about it, and I'm okay if they hurt me and kill me, right? But then how do we solve this difference? Then this is where God sent the prophets with the book. So we can come to the book and we can read the book, and the book clearly states it is the devil that scares his allies. So don't be scared of them, and be scared of me if you were believers. So God has judged in this situation with the verse that it's the devil trying to scare you. One guy is showing fear that, hey, I'm scared of them. I can't speak about them because I'm going to go to jail. I'm going to die. I'm going to get hurt. And the other guy goes, well, I don't care that they're trying to scare me. I need to speak the truth because they're being oppressive. So God has judged between these differences between the people. And this is where this book is amazing, because there isn't a situation where we're differing about an interpretation or a situation that we need to do, where there is a verse that will give us the solution. But then the verses carry on by saying that the people still differed after the book came, after the prophets and the book came. Well, why? Because then they used the verses of God not to bridge and find the differences, but rather they used the verses to split, which is what people in like Sunnism, Salafism, they call takfir. So they find a verse to like twist it so that you would find a reason why the person in front of you is no way a believer. And they want to segregate and split. So they're using the verses of God in a way to oppress each other, right? But the verses does not necessitate for it to be applied. A good example is like someone having a debate with an atheist. It's not that now I'm being friends with him, nor am I sitting with him when he's desecrating God's verses and stuff. No, for me, I'm closing my ears. I'm trying to apply the verses of God. But then God clearly states in the verse that if you do sit with them and you ally with them, you are of them. Like you're no better than them. But someone can come go, well, oh, you're a kafir because you sat there and debated with atheists who hate the book of God and they were making fun of the messengers and you were sitting among them. Well, no, I'm here defending God and his honor, and I'm also warning the other person, and I don't agree with him. And as he was talking, I was ignoring when he was ignoring the person. I would try to change the topic as God ordered me to. But then they could use this verse to show that I'm a disbeliever and I'm going against the word of God. This is where like the verses are being used against each other. بَغْيًا بَيْنَهُمْ. So when the truth is being and the proofs are being used as a way to dispel each other, when you clearly brothers, you clearly believe in God, you clearly believe in the day of judgment, and you might have differences, you should find a way to settle the difference between God's book, and it shouldn't be a way to oppress each other, but rather to solve the situation rather than it being a personal attack, which a lot of people use the book in that way. Right? So for example, it's like the verses where God says, well, in chapter 3, there's a verse that God says that the prophet should say, أطيعوا الله والرسول فإن تولوا فإن الله لا يحب الكافرين. So now they're going to twist the definitions to say that me who believe in God and I'm following the messenger and what the messenger has brought, which is the Quran, they want to say that I'm a disbeliever because I'm not going by whatever changes they did to the blessings of God. So they're using the verse in a way to divide and rip the believers. And this is where God says that he guides by his permission those that understood the truth, and it's not about us breaking bridges, but rather finding a way to find a common ground so that we could stay as a single community, as a single nation. So God, in many verses, he lists many prophets, and he goes, well, this is a single community, and I'm your Lord. But then they differed among them. They differed in the truth. Well, that's the issue with humanity, I guess. We were always looking for a reason to like serve ourselves individually, or serve our individual purpose, over than trying to stay as a single community. And we're okay with people that are at least adhering to the verses of God. The only people who are not welcome in this community are technically the people who want to serve the devil. Those people don't want to be in our community anyways. They are the ones who want to spread, they want to cause divisions, and they want to cause mayhem, and they want to cause chaos, and they want to have people associate to God so that they would have power, money, and it's all about the worldly life. Those people don't want the community in the first place. Okay, and then God clearly states that because of these differences and these situations and people going at each other in the truth, and now if a messenger comes to you, did you really think that just because you said you believe you're going to go to heaven? No, you have to, as God says in other verses, he is going to test you, and he's going to keep testing you to see that those people who are patient among you, to the people who are willing to put the effort in. Like, he's going to keep testing until he proves to you and to everyone around you, which he already knows, who is the people who are willing to put the effort and who are willing to stay patient and steadfast in what they believe in. Because this is how you keep building for your hereafter. Okay, you have to hear me out. If I'm riding a bicycle and it's such a bumpy road and it's such a difficult road, if I fall one time, I don't sit there and I cry, I failed and I'm done. That's it. I'm a terrible person. I'm riding a bike. I never want to ride the bike again. It's game over for me. In this example, being a Muslim is riding the bicycle. Okay? So riding the bicycle, I fell, I hurt my knee or I hurt my elbow, but I went back on the bike. I could feel bad that I failed in that moment. I can cry. I can say that I did a terrible way. I should have maneuvered the bike in a better way. I was going too fast. I wasn't paying attention to this pothole. But then I will get back on the bike, and then I will keep going, and I'll keep trying, and I will be very patient in what I'm going through, despite it not being comfortable. Okay? And this is what the truth about religion of God is. Like, you have to be as steadfast as much as you can so that you can see how you become a better person. And sometimes you fall to a point where you feel like you failed, you really failed, and that it might feel like God wants nothing with you. But God is extremely merciful, and he's very understanding, and he's very forbearing. As long as you're willing to get back and keep trying, you'll see that event that occurred, God will forgive you, and he'll repent on you, and you can carry on. But in those environments, in those moments, it's really when it's testing your faith. It's easy to say that you're a believer, but it takes work and effort to keep holding on to the rope, because God wants us to hold on to the rope. And the rope, unfortunately, is throwing you left and right, and you're hitting the wall, and you're crashing into waves, and then you're going up in the skies. But as long as you're holding, you see you're fine. But then when you let go and you're sitting and you feel like this world now, you could do whatever you want, it feels empty. It feels like you cannot really perform or do anything that's worthwhile. It just feels like it's not challenging. So you want to go jump and hold the rope again, because as difficult it might seem that this challenge is, the challenge is very rewarding as long as you're holding on. And this is even true to the messenger. Like, the messenger is not like a walk in the park. It's not like saying, oh, I'm a messenger, I'm God's messenger, and therefore, like, everything's going to happen my way. There's no fear. Yes, there's no fearing, there's no grieving. It's because you're holding on the rope of God. But people are insulting you constantly. People are going to hit you constantly. People will not physically hit you, but they're going to take shots at you. People want to, you could see what the prophet went through. People want to take him under. People wanted to kill him. People, stole his house. People stole his belongings. People tried to deal with his believers in a very terrible way, yet they kept holding on to the rope while they're getting hit at them. A very easy way for me to explain this is, imagine you're in a car and your religion is this car, or you yourself is the car. There's a goal, right? So you're driving from one place to the destination. The car is going to reach the destination. This is a promise from God for the believer. As long as you're a believer and you keep driving the car is going to reach its destination. But along the way, people are going to throw rocks at your car. People are going to shoot at your car. People are going to strip your tires. People are going to hit your car. People are going to try anything they can for it to not reach the destination. But they cannot stop your car. They'll break your windows. They'll slash your tires. The car might break down along the way, but you will reach the destination because it's a promise of God. This is what adha is. So they can harm you, but they can't stop you. And this is the faith that you really need to believe in, because this is how you're showing you're steadfast. Now, the jihad is you driving your car and making sure someone else is driving their car and someone else is also their car. And if someone like got hurt to a point where they're taking a break, hey, come on, man, we got to keep going. Don't give up. I understand it's a difficult place. Yes, they treated you unkindly. Yes, the devil's giving you doubts. Yes, things are going, but don't give up, okay? You stay here. Just hold my hand. I'll hold you through. Let's see if you can make it. If you really need to let go, but don't just completely go into this world and become hedonistic, right? Don't completely give up. And this is where we keep asking for God's help, because we want to be the victors at the time before we reach our destination so that more people come into the religion. Like, it's very nice if we become the people who are now holding the land. It's an amazing goal, but it's not a must for us, because we don't want to become like arrogant and big in the world. But if God does allow us to have strength in the world, as long as we maintain giving the zakat and doing the salah, like doing the prayer and giving the purifications, then we are proving to ourselves that we want to stay in God's religion. I apologize, my camera did have an issue and I apologize, my camera's battery did run out, so we'll carry on with this. So God is telling us to wait for his victory, because his victory is coming. And it is difficult to a point where the prophet he's not running out of patience, but he's also having to really hold on until God's victory come, where he is waiting for where he is expressing that he needs God's help. God then tells us about the people that we should be prioritizing on who we should be giving. But it does not necessitate that we can only give to these people. Yes, not all of it is considered as zakat or sadaqah, but any good that you do is going to be rewarded for you. But there are people that you should prioritize over others. Now, if your parents are very well off, like your mom and dad, or people who are rich, giving them money is not going to be as good as, you, for example, giving a relative who isn't rich, or an orphan that really needs the help. So prioritizing and using your wisdom to where the money should go, the money should be going in that direction. But you do have to be aware on where and how you are handling you giving money away. But any good is provided back to you. Any good is given back to you. With that said, I really hope you guys are enjoying this. I apologize for the camera and the quality at the end. And I hope you guys are doing well. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.